What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Qasim and today I'm going to be giving you guys photography tips to improve the photos on your iPhone. Now these are all tips that honestly I think can be used in video as well. I apply them to my video techniques that you guys often see here on the channel, so you can use them for photo and video. Now before we get started, check down below in the description because I've divided this video into chapters so you guys can jump to whatever section is going to be relevant for the information that you're looking for. Alright, so first and foremost, let's start with the camera app. Now I'm only going to be showing you things that you can tweak with the photos. So we're not going to get into video or anything, but I just want to run you through the camera app and things that you can adjust before even starting to shoot your pictures. Alright, so one of the first things that you guys need to do is go and grab your iPhone, go into the settings. You're going to scroll down to find camera, click on that, and then you are going to go into composition and you're going to see grid over there. And I want you to turn this on and I'm going to give you guys the reason as to why that is. Now next, let's go ahead and open our camera app. Okay, with the camera app open, one of the first things that you guys are going to see is your lenses. So depending on your iPhone, whether you have 2 lenses or 3 lenses, you're going to be able to switch between all 3 of them just by tapping those numbers. So 2x, 1x, and then 0.5 for the ultra wide lens. So you always want to use whichever one of these that you want to utilize for the shot. So it's going to depend on what kind of shot you want. Now next, if you look in the top left, you will see like a bunch of circular icons. This is for live photos. So if you've ever gotten a photo before on a message and you've pressed on it and you get to see like a live clip of what was happening in that photo, that's what live photos are. So if you're taking a picture that you don't want to be a live photo, you can just toggle this on and off by simply pressing on that button. Now next, if you look at the center left, you'll see this little arrow. This is basically going to bring up more options for you. So if you tap on this arrow, you're going to get a bunch of options ranging from the aspect ratio to the flash settings to the live settings, exposure, setting a timer, and changing between filters before you even take a photo. So now first let's talk about the aspect ratio. So if you tap where it says 16:9, you're going to be able to switch between your aspect ratio. 16:9 is the wide aspect ratio, then 4:3 is 4:3, and it's like standard definition ratio. And then you've got square, which is going to be great for Instagram posts and things like that. All right, next I want to talk about the exposure one. So if you tap on this, you can basically control the amount of light that is coming into your iPhone's camera. So you can bring the exposure down or raise it even higher. So when it is a little bit darker, you're gonna wanna raise it. And then other times when it's like broad daylight, you're gonna wanna bring it down so that way you don't get washed out images. All right, next is going to be the timer. Now this one is pretty self-explanatory. You can actually set a timer. So let's say you had a tripod and you want to set a timer for 3 seconds or 10 seconds. You can set that right in here, and then the iPhone will take a picture right after counting down. So you'll hear an audible tone and it'll count down and take a picture for you. And the last one I want to talk about is the actual filters. So your iPhone has built-in filters that you can apply. So tapping on this one, you'll be able to run through all of those filters. You can apply them beforehand, and you can also apply these afterhand. So if you've ever done editing on your iPhone, then you can apply one of these filters afterwards. So now that we've got the camera settings out of the way, I want to talk about what I had you guys turn on before, the grid lines. So the grid lines is basically going to guide you as to where you should keep your subject. In photography and videography, there is a rule of 1/3, which states that a subject or object should be in one of the portions of the grid. So either the right third, the center third, or the left third. The next tip I have for you all is to shoot low. Now, it's so natural and so convenient to shoot from chest height. We pull out our iPhones, shoot the picture, and we're done. That is the most natural way to do it for anyone. I did it for the longest time, but just by kneeling down a little bit and getting a little bit lower, it's just going to change the dynamic of your image by so much. For example, take a look at this picture of my car. This was taken from chest height, and it's a great picture. It's not bad at all. But just by kneeling down a little bit and taking this picture, it just changes this picture. Now here in this next picture, these are a bunch of flowers, and this is again just chest height, just kind of looking down. I just knelt down again, and these are the same flowers. So just getting lower is just going to change the dynamic of your image. Again, in this photo of these yellow flowers, all I did was just get low, shoot it from the side. This brings me to my next tip, which ties in with shooting low. This is perspective. And what I mean by this is that, before, when we had cameras hanging on our necks all the time, everybody had a camera when they were traveling, we would really think about a photo before we took it. With the iPhone, with things like Snapchat, photos have really become a casual thing. We just kind of snap a picture and go about our day. Snap a picture, move on. Snap a picture, move on. We don't really think about photos the way that we did before. And with such great cameras in our pockets, it's really a shame. So with perspective, if you just stop and think about the environment, whatever you're shooting, it's just going to make your picture that much different. For example, look at this picture. You see this picture, what do you think? I'm pretty sure immediately you were focused in on what is happening through that little tunnel, what is happening on the other side. You were probably focusing on that blurred area. This is an example of one of those photos that is just perspective. If you change the perspective of your image, then it's just going to stand out that much more. Now, this is actually a fence. So if you look at this clip here, you will know exactly where I went to shoot this image. And just by doing this slight little thing, what's going to happen is that your image is just going to be that much more different. This is just thinking outside the box, changing the perspective and changing the look. Here's another picture of a flower. And again, this would be perfect if you could get this flower like isolated in a field, and you just had this flower and a really nice blue sky behind it, and this picture would have just been really, really awesome. But this is just all about perspective. If you take this same picture of this flower from this angle, then it looks nice. It's not that it looks bad, but just by taking the picture from the side, having that sky in the background, having whatever, you're just going to take this picture to another level. Now, the next tip I have for you guys is to always use your optical zoom. So in the beginning, when we were looking at the settings and I was showing you how you can switch between your lenses, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because by utilizing those different lenses and those zoom levels, you're not going to lose any quality in your images. But quite often we pull out our phones and we pinch into zoom and we snap a photo. That's called digital zoom. And what happens with that is that you're going to lose a lot of the quality, because optical zoom happens within the lens and digital zoom is just you essentially enlarging an image. So for example, take a look at this image that I took of this little minion guy. Now, the first image is from the 12 mini at 1x zoom. The second image is from the 12 mini at 2.6x zoom, which is digital zoom. Now, at first glance, these two might not look that different, but if we enlarge both of the minions, then you'll notice that there is a lot more grain in the second image. That grain is referred to as noise, and the noise is there simply because you're not zooming in with the lens and you're just enlarging the image, and therefore you've lost a lot of the quality of the image itself. So whenever you're out and about and you're trying to take a picture with your iPhone, if you can't get close enough with the optical zoom, just move closer to the subject or the object that you're trying to shoot And that way, you're not going to lose out on any image quality with your photo. Now, the last tip I have for you all in regards to taking pictures with your iPhone is to use the auto exposure and autofocus lock. Now, you've probably opened up your camera and tapped to focus on something and just to get it focused in and nice and clear. Now, what you can do is if you just keep pressing on that subject, then it's going to lock in the focus and lock in the exposure. And what that is going to do is just allow you to get a really nice shot without any change in light, any change in focus. See, the iPhone is constantly making exposure and focus adjustments, and especially when you're out there trying to get those closer shots, it's going to be really helpful to lock in those settings and then capture the shot that you're looking for. Alright guys, so those were all my tips for getting good photography and videography shots with your iPhone. These are just things that I've learned along the way, and honestly, from where I started till now, I've gotten so much better. And I think that if you keep practicing, and there'll be things that you learn that you could even point out to me and help me get better pictures or video. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, comment down below with anything that you'd like to say, and most importantly guys, take care of yourself, and I will see you all in the next video.